The first word Eli Hale spoke in 18 months was Jonah. And 10 seconds later, security accused Jonah of trying to abduct him. Jonah Reed turned toward the quiet voice before he noticed the black-suited officers closing around him. Eli stood beneath the amber chandeliers in his blue formal jacket, one hand gripping his picture card ring, his brown eyes fixed on Jonah. Across the ballroom, Marcus Hale moved at once. He stepped between his son and the nearest guard while Jonah lowered himself without approaching. "I heard you," Jonah told Eli, as calmly as if hundreds of guests had not gone silent. "You don't have to say it again." A ballroom screen flickered from the charity program to grainy security footage. It showed a man in a sage cardigan taking Eli by the shoulder and steering him toward a restricted service. That evening, he compared the medical trust invoices against the household calendar in the warm library. 2 more sessions overlapped with school events. A fourth supposedly occurred while Eli and Marcus were visiting Marcus's mother in another state. Attached to the latest invoice was consent for a residential communication assessment. At the bottom sat Jonah's signature. It looked correct until he noticed the narrow loop in the R of Reed. Jonah had made that loop once, on an emergency contact form during his first morning. Every later signature was cleaner. Marcus came around the desk, but stopped on the opposite side, leaving the papers and Jonah's space untouched. His controlled expression hardened as Jonah aligned the forms. "You didn't sign this?" "No. Someone copied it from the school authorization." "I'll freeze the trust account." "Not yet." Jonah met his eyes. "If whoever did this controls the records, an immediate freeze warns them before we preserve anything. We need the originals, the access history, and Priya's independent confirmation." Marcus was accustomed to giving orders. Jonah could see the instinct gather and then recede. "Tell me what you need." "First, believe that protecting Eli includes letting qualified people disagree with you." Marcus held his gaze. "I believe it includes letting you disagree with me." Before Jonah could answer, Evelyn Shaw entered in a pearl gray suit, her silver bob as precise as the folder beneath her arm. As family trustee, she explained, she had already arranged a private residential assessment with Brightbridge. The gala would be an ideal transition point. Eli became tired in crowds, and Jonah could take him through the service corridor to a waiting car. "You want me to remove a 7-year-old from a public event without his father or specialist present?" Jonah said. "Then deliver him to a program named Undisputed Invoices. I want you to follow the trust's care plan. I won't approve placement, transport, or assessment without Marcus, Dr. Sen, and an independent review. Eli also gets an accessible explanation and a real choice wherever medically appropriate." Evelyn's gray eyes cooled. "You are an employee, Mr. Reed." "Yes, that means my duties are defined. It does not mean my judgment is for sale." Now, beneath the gala chandeliers, Evelyn stood beside the accusing screen in a silver-gray evening ensemble. "He used the corridor exactly as anticipated," she told Nadia Chen, the security director. "Remove him before he contaminates the child's account." "I did not use that corridor," Jonah said. On screen, his likeness bent toward Eli. The false Jonah's hand closed around the child's upper arm. Real Eli shifted nearer to Jonah, not touching, but clearly choosing his side of the open floor. A guard reached for Jonah. Marcus blocked him with one arm. "No one separates them by force." "Mr. Hale," Nadia warned. "The footage appears to show an attempted unauthorized removal." "Then preserve the system that produced it. Do not export over the original. Lock the recording server, door sensors, bags logs, and administrator access history." Marcus looked at Eli rather than the watching donors. "My son's immediate comfort comes first." He knelt several feet from Eli. "You can stay here, go somewhere quiet, or ask for Dr. Sen. You may point." Eli touched Jonah's name card, then the symbol for quiet. Marcus accepted the answer without asking him to repeat the spoken name. Jonah's chest tightened, not because Eli had spoken, but because Marcus had listened. Evelyn stepped closer. "Mr. Reed should be questioned privately before he coordinates his story." "No," Jonah said. He rose slowly, keeping himself in Eli's line of sight. "I will give a documented statement with independent counsel and my agency representative present. I want an external copy of every preserved record, and Dr. Sen must remain available to Eli. You are in no position to dictate terms." Jonah faced her while Marcus remained beside his son, and Nadia spoke into her earpiece, ordering the original systems sealed. "I am not dictating terms," Jonah said. "I am invoking my right to independent representation." "The corridor door never opened," Nadia said 11 minutes later. She delivered the finding in the quiet service corridor, away from the ballroom's chandeliers and curious faces. Eli sat on a padded bench in his blue formal jacket, a picture card strip beside him. Jonah remained several feet away, visible without hovering. No one mentioned the word he had spoken. No one asked him to perform it again. Priya arrived in her navy dress and simple flats, took in the guards at both ends of the corridor, and approached Eli from the front. "Would you like me close, across the hall, or gone?" She placed 3 cards within reach. Eli chose close, then pointed first to Jonah and next to the empty space beside Priya. Marcus knelt at his son's level. His midnight tuxedo could not disguise the strain in his controlled posture. "Jonah stays where you can see him. Dr. Sen stays close. Is that right?" Eli nodded once. Marcus looked at Jonah, not as an employer issuing permission, but as a father confirming a boundary. "Is that acceptable to you?" "For now," Jonah said. He appreciated the question too much to soften the condition. Nadia held up a tablet without bringing it near Eli. "The screen in the ballroom showed a timestamp of 9:14. At 9:14, the restricted door's magnetic contact remained closed. The crash bars registered no pressure, and the corridor motion sensor detected no one." Her dark eyes shifted to Jonah. "The recording claims you passed through a door that did not move." Eli selected the camera card and turned it face down. Priya quietly turned the rest of the cards face down as well. No more evidence discussion in this space. Marcus stood immediately. "Agreed! Nadia, use the security room. No staff member questions Eli. If he volunteers anything, Priya decides how it is documented." He waited until Eli chose to walk beside Priya, then let them lead. Jonah followed at the distance Eli had requested, with Marcus behind him rather than at his shoulder. In the cool monitor light of the security room, Nadia displayed 2 frozen images. The genuine gala feed preserved sharp edges around a service cart and subtle grain in the darker walls. The accusing clip smeared motion into square blocks. "Different compression profile," she said. "The cameras encode at a higher resolution. This clip was created elsewhere, then inserted into an export package. But the package passed the system's verification because it bears an authorized administrator credential." She studied the result, then turned one monitor so they could all see the plain access path. "The credential did not merely validate the export. The request originated through Mr. Hale's office account." Jonah looked through the glass. Eli was arranging wooden tiles by color, safe for the moment because adults had stopped treating certainty as more important than procedure. Then he looked at Marcus. "You offered me protection from inside the system that produced the forgery." Marcus's face went still. "Yes. You told me you would preserve the evidence. How do I know that wasn't controlled disguised as help?" "You don't." The answer landed without defense. Marcus removed his phone and placed it on the console. He took an access token from his inner pocket and set it beside the phone. Nadia, seal these. Collect my work laptop from my office. I recuse myself from the technical review and from selecting the examiner. Jonah's counsel and agency can approve every evidence transfer. Nadia produced 2 clear evidence sleeves. I'll also need a list of anyone authorized to use your recovery credential. Marcus exhaled slowly. Evelyn. During the expansion last year, I gave her continuity access to my office systems because I was traveling and she controlled several family trusts. I never revoked it. Jonah's anger sharpened. She controls Eli's medical trust, had access to your administrator recovery process, and arranged the Brightbridge placement. And I called that delegation. Marcus watched Nadia seal his devices. Eli chose the camera card. Priya did not praise, question, or repeat the choice. She placed a blank card beside it. From the small group of familiar person photographs kept for planning transitions, Eli selected Evelyn's and set it beneath the camera. His brown eyes moved to Priya, waiting. I see the 2 things you chose, Priya said. Would you like me to record that choice? Eli tapped yes, then pushed the cards away. Priya photographed the arrangement, marked the time, and sealed her note. Since this is a communication lead, she told the adults, it is not testimony, and no one will turn it into testimony by asking him to record it again. Evelyn's expression barely changed. A child arranging cards is not evidence. No, Nadia said from behind her, but it gave me the correct archive to examine. The security director entered with an external examiner on a secure call and a slim evidence case under one arm. The service door sensor confirms it remained locked through the entire period shown in the clip. The image used to accuse Jonah came from the lower resolution rehearsal proxy created yesterday when staff tested ballroom displays and corridor lighting. That proxy was accessed at 8:14 tonight with a trustee badge assigned to Evelyn Shaw. Evelyn folded her hands. My badge grants broad access. That proves nothing. Your badge opened the archive room, Nadia continued. 4 minutes later, Marcus's recovery credential authorized the false export from a tablet assigned to your trust office. The device connected through the gala's staff network, not Marcus's phone or laptop. We preserved its address before your assistant attempted a remote wipe. For the first time, Evelyn looked toward the ballroom doors. Nadia stepped between her and the exit without touching her. The wipe failed. Please remain available for the independent ethics officers. Evelyn turned to Marcus. Everything I did was to keep your family stable. That Omega found confidential records he had no business reading and interpreted billing procedures he did not understand. He found care documents requiring his signature, Marcus said. Documents you forged. Jonah felt the accusation trying to pull him back into defense. He refused it. The copied signature came from the garden safety authorization I signed for Eli's school. The original has a faint break where the clipboard edge caught my pen. That same break appears on 3 Brightbridge consent forms created weeks later. And mine came from Eli's accommodation form, Priya added. Brightbridge billed 4 sessions that never occurred. School attendance, my notes, and Marcus's travel records independently place Eli elsewhere. Nadia opened the evidence case, but kept every item inside its sleeve. Payment records supplied by the trust's interim auditor complete the chain. Brightbridge Clinical Services is owned through 2 holding companies. Their controlling beneficiary is Evelyn Shaw. The trust paid Brightbridge for non-existent sessions, and the proposed residential placement would have transferred a recurring monthly fee to the same company. You built safeguards no one else was willing to build, Evelyn said, directing the words at Marcus. I created continuity. You created dependence. Then he returned to Eli. Eli was eating toast in the sunrise breakfast room. When Jonah appeared, he lifted the stay card and pointed to the chair opposite him. Jonah sat. No one mentioned the name Eli had spoken at the gala. After a moment, Eli slid half a strawberry onto Jonah's plate, then took it back and ate it himself. Jonah smiled. A thoughtful offer, briefly available. Eli's mouth curved. Marcus looked down at his coffee, but Jonah caught the relief in his face. The relief of a father who had finally learned not to demand more from a faced him with open, empty hands. I am sorry. I placed you inside a system where doing your job endangered your livelihood. I trusted authority more than verification, and you carried the risk. I don't expect forgiveness, and I will not ask you to return. Thank you for saying exactly what you're apologizing for, Jonah said. It mattered more than a plea would have. I'm not ready to forgive all of it. You don't owe me readiness. 3 days later, Lara met them in the warm penthouse library. Her rust-colored suit was the brightest thing in the room, and her authority belonged to neither Marcus nor the Hale Trust. She terminated Jonah's direct household assignment with full protected compensation, an unqualified professional reference, and independent transition pay. A child-centered panel, including Priya, would appoint a separate caregiver after Eli met the candidates through cards, writing, gestures, speech, or observation on his own schedule. Marcus will not select Jonah's next position, supervise it, fund it, or receive reports about it, Lara said. There is no remaining employment leverage, formal or informal. She signed. Jonah signed. Marcus signed last. Lara closed the file. The arrangement is ended. Only then did Marcus turn to Jonah. His posture was controlled, but hope made him look less guarded. May I ask something that has nothing to do with employment? You may ask. I would like to know you outside this house. Slowly. 1 coffee, in a public place you choose, with no expectation beyond the hour. Jonah considered him. Not the alpha CEO who could command a ballroom, but the man who had stepped back when stepping back cost him. Coffee, he said. Saturday morning. I choose the cafe, I arrive on my own, and either of us can leave without needing a reason. Marcus's smile was quiet. I'd like that. Weeks later, Eli stood in the school garden between 2 new herb planters. He told Priya, more water, then used a card to choose the blue watering can. When Marcus asked whether he wanted company, Eli answered by taking his father's hand. Later, when Jonah and Marcus arrived with coffee, Eli greeted them with a wave and returned to his work in contented silence. Every answer was accepted. Every silence belonged to him. And across the garden, with open space between them and equal freedom in every